Yo, what's up everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be dropping an overview on Fables, the Deluxe Edition, Book 1. Now this covers issues 1 through 10. Here's the nice wraparound cover. Really digging this, the way they did the covers. This is Red Rose. She's kind of like the main character in this first story arc. We got this tiger here. So they're all basically based on fables, meaning like your fairy tales, Cinderella, Snow White, etc. Here it says Once Upon a Time. So they made this show called Once Upon a Time. I wouldn't even say it's loosely based on this because it has nothing to do with the book. It's basically they just took the same concept of what if these characters existed in the real world, but the stories are completely different. The show it's a good show in its own right, but it's a lot different. I like the book a lot more. Here are the inner flaps of the dust jacket. It has Bill Willingham over here. It kind of tells you who he is. He's the writer. Here's the actual hardcover without the dust jacket. So this is the artwork on it. Again, it's the same cover as the dust jacket, except here we get the other half of the picture. The rest of the tiger and everything down here. I really love the design of these hardcovers. The pictures they use on the dust jackets and so forth. Real nice. Let's take a look inside the book. So here, the inner cover, it's purple with like these kind of lines. It looks almost like buildings, right? Look, like the buildings just zooming in. Real nice, really well built. We have this like, it's like fading right here. It says, Fables, the Deluxe Edition. We get this nice 2-page picture. Table of content here is written kind of small. Wish this was like bigger letters and just from like here to here, you know. But yeah, it's over 260 pages. I believe it's like 275 or something. We get this little like interview or whatever from the writer, Bill Willingham. This is not included in the compendiums, I believe. All this writing right here. Then we get the cover. As with DC, this Vertigo, which is still kind of DC, they have virgin covers. They don't have the titles here. But this would basically be issue 1. I really like the covers too. Like, if I saw these covers at the comic shop, it would stand out to me compared to your regular comic book art, right? Alright, so the story starts off right here. What I find interesting is that this first panel on the compendiums, it has this artwork up higher and here up higher. So you get a big blank white spot. On the hardcovers, they kind of put it in the middle, where you get a big gap here and a big gap here, as opposed to all of it in one area. So yeah, this is written by Bill Willingham. And the first story arc, the artist is Lan Medina, inker Steve Leaola. And it starts off right here where they're in a hurry in the taxi. You see it going pretty fast right here. This artist is pretty good. The main artist is Mark Buckingham, but he doesn't cover this first story arc. We have Jack. You know, he has those magic beans, right? So you know who he is. He's running into this big office right here. See, I'm going to right here. Boom. And this is the office of the detective, Bigsby, who is the big bad wolf. Yes, that big bad wolf that blows the 3 little piggies' house down. So here he's a detective. So in this world, he's like the big bad wolf. He's a detective on everybody, right? Arresting people and so forth. So he kind of plays the same character, but different. Look at how they drew Jack here. You see him very exhausted. So I like the art. It has almost like a feel of like those Constantine books to an extent. Here we have Miss Beauty. Woo! Obviously, she's very attractive. And here's the Beast. He's turning back into the Beast, but he wants to look normal because they're trying to fit it into the normal world, right? With the humans, who they call the mundane people. And here is a Snow White. She's the mayor in this Fabletown. Obviously very hot because we know Snow White is typically very hot. So is the Beauty. So yes, this is how these people look. I like the way they drew her right here. The Beauty, because when you see the way she's drawn, yes, she's drawn like attractive, but it almost looks like it's referenced from an actual picture of a real person. Obviously a good looking person, but it doesn't look perfect. It doesn't look superhero-ish with muscles and stuff. It looks like a real body. So does hers to an extent. But this particular panel really stood out to me. I was like, hey, that looks like they almost like traced a real picture. Here is some of the good or lost you would get. So it's not a lot. I mean, it's a 300, less than 300 page hardcover. So you won't get too much of that. The dialogue, while it looks like a lot of dialogue, it's really good. Makes the stories fun with the wittiness they have towards one another, kind of cracking jokes at each other's expenses and stuff like that. And here, obviously, the Beauty and Snow White, they do not get along. They're really going at it. They're having a verbal joust, if you will. And she, being the Beauty, tells Snow White something about, oh yeah, we heard about your reputation with you and those 7 dwarves. And whoo, that hit a nerve here. We see this, no words, just a face. Once that happens, she gets up, and this guy immediately tells her, you know what, it's time for you guys to leave. She's like, I wasn't done talking to her. And he kind of tells her, you went a little bit far, leave right now before she does something to you, right? So before it leads to like a physical fight or whatever between these 2 girls. So that was pretty good right there. It starts off like really interesting. Now here is Rose Red. Turns out she's a Snow White's sister. I don't know a lot about those fables of Snow White, so I don't know if she actually had a sister named Rose Red, or if that's a character from another fable and they made them related on this one. But whenever it's in all purple like this, and only she's one in color, so you know that's the character they're talking about, and everything else is in purple, so you know it's like a memory. And I like what the artist does here. Look, he draws the mirror, kind of like a magic mirror that's showing us, the reader, back at like a memory or a past, a flashback, if you will. So they're like, yeah, she was partying with the mundane people. She likes to hang out with regular humans. Now she's missing. So obviously the mayor, Snow White, who is also the sister, and the big bad wolf detective, is their job to find out either where she is, or if there was a crime committed, start doing some detective work and kind of see what happens, right? So the first story arc is very much a murder mystery. Now, I love what the writer did right here. He's looking at the stereo system, but he says nothing. You're just looking at the art. He's letting us figure out the mystery as we're reading the book without letting us know, right? Like, he's letting the artwork give you the same clues they're getting. So check it out right here. It says nothing, but you see the stereo. There's no blood around it, only around everything else. And it's making it very clear. CDs are broken, and it's making it very clear. All the front CDs are not missing. Only all the back ones are broken, right? It will tell you at the end of the mystery. And why is her new stereo system not a drop of blood on it, only on everything else? So he finds that stuff odd, even though the writing is not telling you it. It's giving you other pictures here with no words. Now you gotta soak these pictures in and play detective yourself, right? Which I love that they did that. Again, another part where he has the refrigerator. They had a lock on it. Hell of a first issue. It ends there. Now we get to issue 2. This is the covers. Love the covers. Like I said, they look real cool, like a painted style to them. Here again, another flashback. Like I said, when they show it in these types of colors, they're flashbacks. They're telling us the story. Look at all the fables here. Why are they in the real world? They're in New York. What happened to where they come from? So here you get the story. It's kind of referencing there was a big war, shit went down, and they kind of, a lot of these fables left to Earth because the Fabletown, it kind of became like a bad neighborhood, basically, right? So one day they want to go back and take back their streets, but not now. They've been here over centuries, so over 200 years, amongst the regular people. Now there's a catch. The regular, a lot of the fables, they look like humans, right? Cinderella, Snow White. The big bad wolf can be human and go back to wolf. They can live amongst the humans, but creatures like this guy from Wizard of Oz, certain creatures, they can't. So they have a little city for them out in the farm, they call it. So it's out like in the outskirts where nobody's there, kind of like a ranch type thing. And they build their own little community. Here's the big bad wolf turning into the big bad wolf. There's a hell of a page right here too. He's about to fight the Mr. Bluebeard. So here, as they're kind of going at it, the confrontation, Snow White shows up with this giant ogre. So they quickly stop the fight, right? You're not gonna mess with this guy. He's kind of like security. And yeah, so they stop the confrontation. And I'm not gonna get too more into this story because if we get to issue 3, there's the Beast and the Beauty. So we're not gonna get too more into this story because it is a mystery. So part of the fun of it is not knowing too much about it, right? So let's kind of get to the next story arc. Here, again, it tells us a little bit about the background. This is their main villain and back in the Fables towns. It's almost like the devil, right? Like Lucifer. Look at the hoofs and all that. So I'm not familiar with what fable he's from. So he started an uprising, got an army, drove everybody out of town, right? Ooh, love this page. Looks very regal, very fancy. Look at all the people here drinking their champagne and stuff. Everybody's dressed all chic. I really like the artwork on this panel, on this splash page. Real nice. So yeah, like I said, I don't want to ruin too much of it because it is a murder mystery. So part of what makes this story arc good is not knowing too much and figuring it out as you're reading, right? So let's kind of get to the next story arc, like I said. All right, so the next story arc is taking Snow White and Red Rose to the farm where all the other fables are, like this pig. People that don't pass as humans, they can't fit in New York. Here is Fabletown. I really like this. Kind of like a map. Like Conan always has his maps. Their little farm area. Here it is. The castle, the farm, this boot thing. I know it's from one of those fairy tales. So we got everything going down right here. I like the layout. Kind of like the map, like I said. It shows the city there. So they're getting off here or whatever. And Red Rose, she likes hanging out with the humans, with the mundane people. She doesn't really mess with her own people, with the fables. So this is the first time she's even been to the farm, and she's like, oh wow, look at all these other creatures. And Snow White, it's right here when she's opening. She's like, whoa, what are you guys doing? You're having some type of meeting? Turns out they are having a meeting, and they want to kind of go back to Fabletown. So they're trying to start build an army to go back and fight a war to get their land back. Here, this one is a lot more like what the Fable stories would be. The first one was a murder mystery in the city, kind of just introducing you to the characters and telling you the backstory of how they ended up in the real world. But it's a lot different than the rest of the book would be, right? The second story arc, they're back in like now Fabletown and the stuff they do. So this is a pretty good story too. They're two sisters and they didn't get along, right? So they're trying to make up now because they haven't talked for years and all that stuff, right? But now the sister thought Red Rose was dead. She's like, wants to build a relationship. She's like, they're talking and arguing at the same time, and boom, there's this one of the characters, head on a stick. So whoa, shit is getting dark, right? Shit is getting real, and it looks real dark. There's like something out of Batman or something. You see the two characters there. I like the facial expressions. Also, on this second arc is Mark Buckingham, but all the artists do a good job keeping it kind of similar to each other, at least at first. I like every character has a different face. They all look different. Some of the body types look similar, but a lot of them look different as well. So it got real dark right there. Somebody's been murdered. Have his head on a stick here. Clearly it's some type of message of war, how they used to do back in the days, right? Put the head on a stick, like back in the Conan comics. So now we got another mystery going down, like whoa, something went down. It was meant to scare off the two newcomers, Snow White and Red Rose. As they're burying the head, we find out that the three little bears and Goldilocks, they're kind of like villains here, right? They got like their little gang going, and they're the ones that were behind this killing, and they wanna like intimidate new people from coming in, and they kind of wanna take over the spot, basically, right, over the farm and everything. They wanna be the head honchos. During all this, we see the relationship with Snow White and Red Rose, how she's kind of jealous of Snow White. You're so popular. Everybody knows who you are. Everybody knows your story with the 7 dwarfs. Nobody knows me, Red Rose. Nobody's heard of me. I'm a nobody. So she's kind of envious of her. And then she's, that's kind of what brings a lot of their problems between the two. And she goes, you're so naive that you don't even notice it. It's not even your fault because you're oblivious to it. So when she's kind of telling her all this, Snow White kind of realizes, wow, there's a lot I don't know about the world like I thought I did. So yeah, here you see the art. Obviously, it's night now. The art is a little darker, more action heavy here. Again, I won't spoil the rest of the book. Let's get to the end of it now. Look at this variant cover by Alex Maleev. Love this cover. It totally gives off a different tone than the other covers. This is the cover to the trade paperback, volume 1. Obviously, it's like a wraparound. You see this character running around that looks like Snow White to me. Here's everybody else inside the subway. It is New York, so you know it's all packed and all that stuff. Some of the artwork. This is, I don't know what this artist is, but I like the style. Here and here. It's like almost like from newspaper strips and stuff like that. It's like, it could be considered a little old school, but I like that type of art. It has an indie feel to it as well. Get a few sketches. I kind of wish you would have got the cover to volume 2 of the trade paperback, since this does cover volume 1 and 2 of the paperbacks. Alright guys, hopefully this will help convince you to maybe check out this series. I highly recommend it. It's very fun. The dialogue on it is, you gotta read all the dialogue, because even when nothing's happening, there's stuff happening in the dialogue that doesn't reference the story, but just little arguments and comments they have towards each other. It's real good. Also, yeah, you know, if you're not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. That way you'll get notified on your feed when the next video drops. Other than that, I'll just check you guys out next time.